Hey guys, so I went ahead and watched that interview with Germaine De Randamie on the MMA Hour with Luke Thomas, and it sounds like Germaine De Randamie is ready to get back into the octagon. I personally was never impressed with her in the octagon. I just wasn't. I was never impressed with her fighting style. She seemed like a scary fighter. She was just a stand-up only fighter, so not a mixed martial arts, and that's not really impressive to me. But everybody knows what happened that really made everybody just abandoned her. You know, when she started acting scary as hell to defend the belt against the number one contender, Chris Cyborg. That still stings. That's still kind of weird. She was ready to give up the belt because she didn't want to defend it against Chris Cyborg. But anyway, she says that she's back. You know, she wants to get back into MMA, and she has called out the wounded gazelle, Rocky Pennington. You know, she's looking for a light touch to get back in the octagon with. I don't care who she fights, to be honest. Bantamweight division, it's like she could call out anybody. She could literally call out anybody. She could call out the champ. She might get that fight. It's just that's how bantamweight is right now. So, you know, just put my hands in the air. Oh, she can't call out the champ. I'm sorry. The champ already beat her up, already beat her down. So she could call out mostly anybody. But, you know, Germaine De Randamie or GDR, she just, I don't know. I listened to the interview and it just, something about it just didn't connect. I think it might be Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas on that show has not been able to connect with the fighters the same way that Ariel Helwani has. And I understand that they're two different people, but he hasn't even been able to connect with the fighters at all. You know, he just doesn't connect with the fighters. He doesn't ask the right questions. It almost seems like he already has his questions written down. Like he should have asked Germaine. He should have asked her. He should have said, look, it seems like people were upset with you because you didn't want to defend the belt against Chris Cyborg specifically. Were you afraid of her? What was the deal with that? That's what he should have said. Instead of letting her carry on about how the fans were telling me to go kill myself. They were telling me to do this and do that. So, it's like that has nothing to do with what happened way before. They did all of that after. I understand, nobody should be talking that deep. That's pretty deep. That's when you're in too deep. But that just shows when you're a little bit psychotic because those fans obviously were too invested. They're just overly invested. But the thing is that all of that happened after you said, you didn't want to fight Cyborg because you had a hand injury, a hand injury that you had before fighting Holly. A hand injury that you weren't really worried about when you had to fight Holly. A hand injury that you weren't worried about if the UFC was going to allow you to go back down and fight Amanda Nunes for the bantamweight belt, which is apparently what you said you wanted to do. So it's kind of like, I understand the sad story. It is a sad story. You were depressed. You were in a dark place. People were telling you to kill yourself. The fans hated you. They were saying awful things about you. UFC stripped you of your belt or you gave up the belt. However that happened, it was just an absolute barrage of abuse and insults and everything. I get that. I hate that you had to go through that. But what about before that? What about before that? GDR is obviously going to get a fight in the bantamweight division because she's a name and they don't have any names. So they're just thirsty for names at the moment. They're literally just thirsty for names. But I don't know. I don't want to see, to be honest, I don't want to see GDR back in there. I don't want to see Rocky back in there. I don't want to see any of them. Rocky Pennington came off as if she's done with MMA. Like she gave me that feeling like she's never going to make a run back to the top. That's just the feeling that I got from her when I watched her fight Amanda Nunes. She didn't look like the old Rocky. You know who she looked like? She looked like the Rocky that got beat up by Kat Zingano. That's the Rocky that she looked like a defeated Rocky, like a young, new, just not ready, inexperienced Rocky Pennington. I don't want to see that back in the octagon. She just seemed like she was toast. And GDR, the same thing. It just seemed like she was toast. It seemed like she was ready to be done with MMA. And that's coming off of a win. So that's saying a lot. She beat Holly Holm and got the belt and still came off like a loser. I really don't want to see her back in the octagon necessarily. But, I respect that heart to want to get back in there. She's basically doing what I named my channel after. She's channeling MMA. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button.